joining us right now to celebrate her brand new picture book. It's called Double Puppy Trouble. Please welcome to the show New York Times best-selling author and the driving force behind McKellarMath.com, Danica McKellar. Hey, Danica, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm wonderful. I'm really excited about this. I just finished reading Double Puppy Trouble, and what a delightful little book it is.
Thank you. Thank you. I think it's a lot of fun. The illustrator did an amazing job. You know, it's the puppies everywhere. My son, he's 11 years old. He loves puppies. He loves all baby animals. And so a lot of people ask me about my books, like, what's your inspiration? I mean, it's my son. My son is my inspiration. Well, nowadays, I started writing books before he was born, like the middle school and the high school books. But now for the little kid books, that's all Draco.
Isn't it great to have a little person that you love around you every day to inspire you?
Oh, yeah, it's the best. He's the best.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about the story in Double Puppy Trouble.
Yes. So just a quick overview. I write books, as you mentioned, at McKellarMath.com. I've got all my books for ages 0, like babies, all the way through high school geometry, 16 years old. And there's a big slider button there at McKellarMath.com to show you, depending on your child's age, what's the best book. So a lot of the books teach math concepts, like really dig in there, like making it fun, but really genuinely teaching math with exercises and explanations and things. Like I said, all the way through high school geometry, all through elementary school, like every grade. But I also do picture books that are just fun books that sneak a little math in. And Double Puppy Trouble fits into that category of McKellar math book. Double Puppy Trouble is the story of a little girl named Moxie who wants more of everything. She just wants more. Well, be careful what you wish for, because she finds a stick where if you push the button and point it at something, that thing will double. And she decides to double their puppy. Well, the button gets stuck. And so the puppies just keep doubling and doubling, and they don't stop. So we see the puppies, and then there are more puppies, and then there are more. It's 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, 128, 256, and it just goes. We actually, I show one page with all the numbers doubling. It goes to 1,024. But it's so cute and so fun. And so what I'm doing with this is creating a happy, friendly, fun-loving association between big numbers and puppies. So, you know, my hope is that kids will, from a very young age, think of big numbers getting out of control as being the cutest thing ever. And exponential growth, of course, is what is being demonstrated here. That's the math concept that's snuck in. And it's just adorable. It's puppy mayhem. There's on the page that has all the numbers getting really big. In particular, there are puppies spilling out of the house, sliding down the roof. It's a big wide shot, and puppies are just getting into all kinds of trouble, turning on the hose outside, creating this big flood, and they get their little muddy little paws all over everything because they run back inside, and then they just keep doubling. So I had a blast with this. It sort of reminded me from my childhood of 101 Dalmatians meets Fantasia. You know, just where a kid gets powers that they don't know how to control.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, though, you know, it's not just teaches math, but also teaches the lesson that sometimes less is more, and to be grateful for what we have.
Yeah, that the scene, the spread at the end where Moxie and her brother are playing together and cooperating to build that tower is really sweet. I mean, you just kind of feel the sweetness and that relationship coming off the page.
Thank you so much. Yeah, telling stories that warm the heart. That's what I've done my entire life on screen, and I love being able to bring that same sensibility to a little math and to kids through a book.
Yeah, you mentioned being on screen. A lot of people remember you from the Wonder Years, and also the West Wing, and all sorts of Hallmark Channel films. And you've had an amazing career as a storyteller.
Thank you. Yeah, I counted. I've done 16 Hallmark Channel movies, and now I'm doing movies for a new network called Great American Family, or GAC Family. So it's the same guy who ran Hallmark Channel for 20 years, started this new network, and it's a lot of fun. I've got I'm more of an executive producer role and multi-picture deal. It's really exciting. It's the same kind of movies, though. Obviously, same guy who ran Hallmark Channel for so long. It's about warming the heart, and it's, you know, people say, "Oh, these movies are such a great escape," And, I don't think they're just an escape. I really think of these movies as a way of demonstrating behaviors that we all could take on ourselves. Christmas traditions, like, oh, that's a great idea for something we could do with my family. Really modeling behavior that is going to make the world a better place. So it's not just escaping to a fantasy world, but it's about being reminded of the good stuff, the good side of human nature, because we see so much of the opposite on the news. So this Great American Family. And I have one movie on that channel already called The Winter Palace. And that'll be re-airing a few times. And then my new Christmas movie will be on this channel as well.
Super, super. And one of the things I think you do with Double Puppy Trouble is you're giving families, obviously a fun story, but you're also giving families a tool they can use to help their kids have that friendly, positive relationship with numbers that you were mentioning earlier. Because I know myself, and so many kids are just intimidated by math and by numbers.
Exactly. Well, that's my whole mission with McKellar math books, starting at the very earliest of ages with goodnight numbers and bath time, math time, like the wanting to get to kids as early as possible. Now, the most crucial age for math and confidence in kids is middle school. And that's why I started writing my books. Like Math Doesn't Suck was my first book. You can see it here. Math Doesn't Suck, Kiss My Math. These books for middle school are the most crucial because that is the age where kids, especially girls, but all kids start to lose confidence in math. Their grades aren't dropping yet, but their confidence is dropping. And so that's the most crucial age. But after I wrote those books, people were saying, we want books for younger, books for younger. I'm like, you know what? That's true. There's no age that's too young to create a happy association with math. And to start building that confidence and start building that sense of that numbers are your friends. In fact, that's actually a line out of Goodnight Numbers. That numbers are your friends. So that to me is such a wonderful opportunity. And as a storyteller, as an entertainer my whole life, I can't imagine a better use of entertainment than to help kids gain that internal confidence in themselves, and that's going to help them to embrace their smarts and to embrace math, become more financially savvy as they get older. Because let's face it, kids who are afraid of numbers tend to be adults who avoid numbers. And those adults are the ones that the credit card companies and other financial institutions like to rip off. Einstein said something really cool about compound interest. He said it's the eighth wonder of the world. Those who understand it, earn it. Those who don't, pay it.
Well, that is absolutely true. And one of the things that we've explored here on the Reading with Your Kids podcast is just how important it is for us as parents to help our kids become financially literate.
Yes.
And the first way to do that is becoming comfortable and literate when it comes to numbers.
Yes. Absolutely. And so it's not, and it's not just the financial literacy that is to me, the most important gift of math, although that's a really important one. But the other one is that exercising the problem-solving part of your brain, because it's the one section of your brain that solves problems, that solves puzzles, solves a math problem, that solves a dilemma when it comes at you. What are the actual facts? What my emotions are clouding my judgment? What do I actually know? How can I actually solve this? What are the steps I can take? And being able to think logically and having that problem-solving part of your brain really in good shape. Math does that for you. Math does that for you. And kids have to be in math anyway. So why not use this opportunity to become a better problem solver and become somebody who that you're training yourself as a kid. You're training yourself to understand that you are the kind of person who's good at handling challenges and obstacles, because life is going to throw so many challenges and obstacles at all of us our entire lives, things we never would have expected. And are we the kind of person who gets intimidated by difficult things, or can we build ourselves up from a young age to say, you know what, this looks really tough. It's a good thing I've got me on my side, because I know how to handle stuff like this. It's a good thing I got me on my side because I've tackled challenges before. I've faced seemingly insurmountable problems, math problems before, and thought I couldn't do it, but then I stuck with it and I did it. That's the kind of stuff, that's the kind of internal fortitude that I want to give these kids. And that's why I write these books. It's not just for the math and the financial savviness, which is all very important, crucially important, but it's really because we, as a society, I feel like kids more and more are looking towards the outside for validation. They're looking to the social media and also this world we've lived in for a long time, decades and decades. You need these products to be happy. You need these products to be okay. Well, no, maybe not. Maybe you need to build your own sense of self and your own confidence that comes from feeling capable. Maybe that's the key to happiness. Maybe the key to happiness isn't other products or getting the most likes on social media. Maybe the key to happiness is feeling good about yourself and knowing that you are a solid human being who can handle whatever life throws at you. So that to me is the most important gift of mathematics, and getting kids comfortable with it and embracing their smarts and embracing these challenges that math class will inevitably bring.
Yeah. I love the passion that you have, because I not only can I see it, but I can hear it in your voice. This is something that you are really committed to. And I love that. And as you're talking, we've for 5 years, we've been talking and sharing with parents how important it is to read with your kids and all the benefits that they get from reading together. Well, I think, and we've touched on it a little bit here in the podcast, doing math together or mathing together. I don't know how you do that, but math with your kids.
Solving together, right?
Yeah, solving together, sitting down and helping your kids understand, yes, you have this mountain of a problem, but you don't have to start at the top. You can take a little bit and a little bit and a little bit and just work your way up that mountain.
That's true. Now, what I've had a lot of parents tell me is, what do I do? The math looks different now. I don't know how to help my kids. Like, even some parents say I could never do math. Others say I was okay at math, but now I really don't get it. Well, regardless, I do recommend parents looking at my books first before you give it to your kids. If you're in that boat, if you are feeling like you're not, confident to help your kids. And in particular, in terms of the math looking different, I've got 2 books which are not behind me. I have so many books that they're not even all behind me right now. One's called Do Not Open This Math Book. It's for 1st and 2nd graders. The other one is The Times Machine for 3rd and 4th graders. And again, these are all at McKellarmath.com. But the elementary school is where the math looks the most different from how it looked 10, 12 years ago. And in both of those books, I have a new math translation guide for grown-ups in the back, specifically designed for the grown-ups, the parents who are like, what is all this? What is regrouping? I thought it was called borrowing, whatever it is. There are a lot of changes, or, multiplication is taught very differently and division is taught very differently. They've managed to make it really complicated. But what I do in the books too is I'll say, okay, here's how we learned it. Here's what they're doing. Here's how it's really the same thing. It's just kind of dressed up differently. And so I take great pride in helping parents to get what's actually going on and to know, no, you're not stupid. And it's not as different as you think. Here's what's going on. I can walk you through this, and then you can walk your kids through it and have a little more confidence, instead of going out, throwing your hands up and saying, I have no idea. Good luck, kid. That's not what we want.
Yeah. Yes, I do educational magic shows around the country, and there is one trick that I did for years, and it involved a math problem and a prediction and lining up the numbers in columns and everything. And I had to throw it away because the kids were like not understanding what I was doing.
Oh my goodness.
Changed. Yes. One of the things I noticed on McKellarmath.com is your slogan, the fun way to do the right thing for your child's math education. Can you kind of expand a little bit more on that concept?
Yes, absolutely. So the idea is that the right thing is to help your kids, to support your kids in math. It's really important for all the reasons we've just talked about, for that confidence, for the financial savviness. But it can be daunting. So with my background in entertainment, I've made entertaining ways to help your kids in math, and entertaining ways for kids to help themselves in math. It's got to be fun. I just figure, why shouldn't math be like kindergarten? And I love math. I have a degree in mathematics from UCLA. I've studied everything. Multivariable calculus was just the beginning. I've studied it all. Well, not all. I shouldn't say it all. See, that's my math literal self. There's tons of math that I haven't studied because there's so much math out there that not even one, I don't think one person could learn all the math that is out there in one lifetime. Anyway, there's a fun way to do it. And I have this very unique combination of life experience of being an entertainer my whole life and truly loving math, the nitty gritty of it, loving what it does for your brain and knowing how to take some typically very dry topics and make them very fun. In Kiss My Math, I talk about integers. That's positive and negative whole numbers. And you're like, wow, that is the most boring thing. I can't even think of anything more boring, even than the word integer. And I talk about this sounds like a medical instrument, like, quick, we need to operate, hand me the integer. Like, this is awful. So we can't talk about integers. It's not gonna work. So instead we talk about mintegers. And so the idea of like having mints that taste good, and the bigger the number, the better they taste. And then the negative numbers, the negative integers or the negative mintegers are the ones that just taste awful, like those Harry Potter jelly beans with flavors like vomit, earwax, like it's awful. So, but the idea with mintegers is you can combine a really yummy minteger with a terribly tasting minteger and they cancel each other out. And if they cancel each other out completely, you get to 0, which is also known as the linteger that has no taste at all, like lint.
Mm-hmm.
So just making it, kind of bring it to life like that. And so that's, integers, that's just one tiny example. Even, lower grades, like for the Times Machine, the book about multiplication and division. One of the things that I was really excited about doing, because I hadn't seen it done well anywhere, that is making a fun way for kids to learn their multiplication tables, their multiplication facts, because it's one of the more boring things to do, just memorizing all these, okay, 4 times 5 is 20, you're like memorizing all these combinations and it's mind numbing. Well, I took like not the 2s or the 10s, but like the ones that are more challenging. And each one has a little story, a little poem with a picture and to make it come to life so that you remember it better. One of my favorite ones to talk about is 6 times 7 is 42. And so Mr. Mouse is a character in both Do Not Open This Math Book and The Times Machine. Mr. Mouse is not a big fan of math, but he loves cheese. And so I said, okay, Mr. Mouse ate a 6-sided block of cheese, right? A cube of cheese every day for a full week. So that's 7 days. So that's your 6 times 7. Well, by the end of that week, Mr. Mouse was pretty full and farty too. No, I am not above using fart jokes to teach math if that is required. Because let's face it, no kid is going to forget that 6 times 7 is 42 after that story. So this is what I mean. It's how do you create characters and stories and bring these numbers to life and make them fun, give them personalities, and that's what makes it more memorable. And then you do feel more confident because, oh yeah, well, I'm not going to forget that one, or it's just about bringing it to life. Storytelling is an incredible tool and superpower that I think can be used for good, and that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I remember having a conversation, and it's many years ago, with somebody who was pretty intelligent. I think he was may have been working as a professor in college, and he said to me, he goes, I don't know why we torture kids and make them learn math. We have calculators and we have machines that can do that for kids. Why do we have to bother and torture kids? And even though I'm not a mathematician by any means, I knew that it's better for us to understand the concepts, even if we can't do it, and even if we need a machine to help us, it's better to have that understanding, that foundation, than to be ignorant.
Well, of course, and you need to exercise that problem solving side of your brain anyway. And this is a great tool for that. And you can use a calculator, but if you're not comfortable with it because you haven't really done it much, you're not going to use a calculator to double check your credit card statement to see if the APR, if you're not getting ripped off, like you're not going to do that. Yes, we should have our kids do the stuff, but it doesn't need to be torture. That's my take on it. Yeah, right. We need to sharpen their brains and have them understand what's going on. And the thing is, if you don't learn your multiplication tables, it's not just the multiplication tables that you're losing out on. Because yeah, you could type in your phone 6 times 7 equals 42. But let's say you're trying to reduce a fraction. You have to know what the factors are already in order to reduce it. And there's so many other really cool, fun problem-solving situations you're going to find yourself in that a calculator it's kind of too late. You have to already know what to put into the calculator. So before you can use the calculator. So yes, a calculator is an amazing tool and it's very useful, but it shouldn't replace learning these basic skills, because the basic skills are what you build everything else on. And you have to have those skills to build on them. Math is incredibly cumulative. And if you just say, okay, well, they don't need to learn that, they'll just use the calculator, they're going to be hamstrung for everything else in pre-algebra and algebra. They're not going to be, they're going to be like, oh, that looks really hard because I don't know where to start. Yeah, they don't know where to start because they don't know automatically that 6 times 7 is 42. It's 42. Yeah. So, but if they know that automatically, then they have that foundation that they can build on, and they can fly. Their brains can develop and take them wonderful places.
Yeah. And I'm really happy that you stress this whole idea of problem solving and helping our kids develop that problem solving muscle in their brain, because math does helps us just beyond numbers.
It's like going to the gym for your brain. And if you only did easy math problems or only used a calculator or whatever, you wouldn't get anything out of it. You go to the gym and you lift a 1 pound weight. Okay, yay, that didn't do anything. But when you struggle, that's when you get strong. That's when your muscles are engaged. And that's the good stuff in math. You want it to be challenging. Otherwise, you don't get that out of it. You want to be challenging. You want to think, I have no idea how to do this, and then do it. That's where the gifts are.
Yeah. You shared with us early on that that your son was the inspiration for Double Puppy Trouble. What kind of math does he love?
He loves problem solving as well. I mean, he's 11. I mean, I'm teaching him Algebra 1 already because I can't help it. I just can't help it. And he loves feeling smart. All kids love feeling smart. So when he's not understanding something, he doesn't like math. And when he is, he loves math. If you ask him if he likes math, he's like, kind of. But then he'll be doing something, he'll solve it, and he'll get that math high, and he'll be like, I did it. I'm like, look, see, you like it. He's like, he doesn't want to admit it. But also, when you have a mom who's like so into math, as a preteen, there's going to be that desire to not want to be the same. But I catch him all the time. Having a good time. And he loves science. And he openly and willingly admits that he loves science, especially chemistry. I'm like, there's a lot of math on that,
Absolutely. Hey, when did you discover that you had this passion and love for math?
Oh my gosh. I always loved a good challenge, but in middle school, I was terrified of math. I used to come home and cry because I was afraid of my math homework. And then midway through the year, we got a new teacher, and she made it so much more fun. She taught us functions like they were sausage factories. And that was like, I was like, oh my gosh, wait, what? That's amazing. And so in Kiss My Math, I actually do that. And of course, I credit her with it. Bringing stuff to life, making it just jump off the page. So that's when I discovered that math could be really fun. And then it was always a challenge, but I always liked that. I've always been the kind of person where if you say that looks really hard, that probably can't be done, I'm like, really? Well, I mean, maybe I should try. So for better or worse, that's part of my personality. In college, I really discovered that I discovered how good it made me feel, really, because I needed to get away from the whole Wonder Years thing for a minute. I needed to find out who else I was. And so taking a break from acting and throwing myself into math was wonderful for my own self-esteem and for my own confidence just in myself as a person, like where my value came from. So that was amazing for me. And then the next step up was after I graduated, so many people, especially women, were like, oh my gosh, why would you study? Why would you do that to yourself? You're like, you've got a career. Like, why would you go studying math? I'm like, wait, what do you mean? It was great. Like, oh, I could never do math. Oh, and I saw so many people, especially women's confidence, just sort of like, oh, it's like this skeleton in their closet. Like, yeah, I'm a great, happy person, but math that's just my Achilles heel. I'm like, wait a minute. Math doesn't have to be bad. And I've been through the thing where it was hard and then it wasn't, and then it was doable because of how it was presented. So that's what started lighting a fire under me. And then I was invited to speak in front of Congress about the importance of women in mathematics right after college in the year 2000. And I was like, oh my gosh, I studied the problem. I read this commission report, and I was like, middle school is the time when girls' confidence really drops in math, and everyone's confidence does. It's the time of life that the Wonder Years was was told, about to start. Of course, the Wonder Years went all the way through high school, but it started in middle school, because that's the time in life when kids are like, wait, who am I? Am I a cool kid? Am I don't know who I am, but I know math's got a bad reputation, so I don't want to be good at math. That kind of thing is happening, and the math is getting more complicated. So I'm like, all right, middle school is the time. And I just became really passionate about it. At first I was going to do like a video or something. And I was sort of scrambled around, like, what am I going to do? How can I help? And I pledged to Congress that I would do my part to get Math Better PR. And I've been doing it ever since, for more than 20 years now. So it was 2005 when I started writing Math Doesn't Suck, and it came out in 2007.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Hey, one of the neat things about having a podcast is that you kind of get to do things that benefit myself or people that I love. I have a niece who's amazing, and she's entering Wentworth Institute to study biomedical engineering. Young girl originally from El Salvador, and she loves math, but she's going to be faced with some challenges. So can you give my niece Jimena a little piece of advice, something that could carry her through?
When math gets challenging, that's the good stuff. When math is challenging, that's how you know that you're getting something really valuable out of it. And that's when you have the opportunity to separate yourself from a lot of people who would give up. That's when you go, oh, right now is the moment. This is the moment where I get to separate myself from the crowd. I have a choice. And I know that most people are going to go with what feels more comfortable, which is just to sort of give up. But I have a choice right now. Oh, wow, this is it. This is the moment that I get to choose what kind of person I'm going to be, and that I'm going to succeed where others fail. Good to know. Here it is. And I'm going to stick with it. And you do whatever you have to get help. You look at outside resources. You can talk to your teacher, your professors, whatever you need to do. You find that help, because you will find it. And the reason you'll find it is because not everybody is looking for it, but you will.
I love that. That's great advice to everyone.
That's true.
Really
That's true.
Danica, just please remind everybody again your website where they can go to find out more about Double Puppy Trouble and all the amazing resources that you've created for parents.
Thank you. Yes, McKellarMath.com. And there's a big slider button to show you, depending on the age of your child, what is the best McKellar math book for you. And I'm going to tell you, parents, I'm here for you. I have a book, no matter how old your kid is, all the way through high school geometry. I've got a book or two that will really make a difference. And I encourage you to enjoy the book with your kid if you can, especially the younger kid books. Read with your kids.
Absolutely. We've had a great time speaking to the author of Double Puppy Trouble, Danica McKellar. Danica, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.